As we teeter on the precipice of the end times, the stage is set for the grand spectacle where the four horsemen gallop forth, each bearing their own ominous message. Behold the white horse, with its rider wielding the banner of conquest, or perhaps a cloak of false peace, luring humanity into a deceptive embrace. Following swiftly is the red horse, its fiery mane ablaze with the fervor of war, unleashing chaos and bloodshed upon the earth. But lo, the black horse emerges, casting its shadow over the land, heralding famine and scarcity. As humanity struggles under the weight of economic hardship, and then, with a chilling presence, arrives the pale horse, its sickly hue signaling the relentless advance of death and disease, sweeping across nations with grim inevitability. Thus, the four horsemen ride forth, each step bringing us closer to the brink of destruction, while we, mere mortals, watch in awe and trepidation at the unfolding of divine judgment. The comparison between the archons in Gnostic teachings and the four horsemen from the Book of Revelation is a creative interpretation that highlights common themes in different religious narratives. It reflects a symbolic understanding of spiritual obstacles. In Gnostic texts, archons are indeed depicted as malevolent entities or forces that rule over the material realm, often seen as barriers to spiritual enlightenment. They are described as impediments that keep human souls bound to the physical world and ignorance, obstructing the path to gnosis, or spiritual knowledge. The four horsemen, traditionally symbolizing conquest, war, famine, and death, are depicted in the Christian apocalyptic vision as harbingers of the end times, each bringing different forms of suffering and challenge. Interpreting them as representations of psychological and spiritual challenges is an extrapolation that aligns with seeing biblical symbols as reflective of internal human struggles. By drawing parallels between these figures, the interpretation underscores a broader spiritual metaphor found in many religious traditions. The idea of cosmic or supernatural forces that influence or control human destiny and spiritual progression. This comparative view serves to enrich the understanding of spiritual symbols by highlighting their roles and representing challenges on the path to spiritual liberation. In this way, the symbolism of the four horsemen in Gnostic thought aligns with the broader concept of spiritual warfare against the forces of ignorance and deception represented by the archons. Both serve as symbolic reminders of the challenges inherent in the human condition and the necessity of overcoming these obstacles in order to achieve spiritual liberation and enlightenment. Considering the allegorical parallels to the archons in Gnosticism and the Christian perspective on the four horsemen of the apocalypse, one might discern a poignant reflection on the contemporary world. In the midst of global turmoil and existential crises, the white horse could symbolize the allure of materialism and false ideologies that seduce humanity into a state of spiritual blindness and complacency. The red horse, reminiscent of the archon's influence over emotions in Gnostic thought, may represent the rampant discord, conflicts, and unrest that plague societies, fueled by unchecked passions and the pursuit of power. As the black horse signifies intellectual darkness and famine in the Christian interpretation, it mirrors the pervasive ignorance misinformation, and moral decay that overshadow the quest for truth and wisdom in our modern age. Finally, the pale horse, evocative of spiritual destitution and death, serves as a stark reminder of the existential crises and spiritual voids that afflict individuals and societies alike, beckoning towards a deeper awakening and renewal of faith. In contemplating these symbolic motifs amidst the complexities of today's world, one may discern echoes of divine warning and invitation to heed the call of spiritual transformation and redemption. The notion of an apocalypse often carries symbolic significance, representing not only a catastrophic event, but also a profound transformation of consciousness in the world as we know it. Before we can attain liberation from the constraints of the material world and the influence of the archons, we may undergo a spiritual apocalypse, a process of upheaval, revelation, and purification that precedes enlightenment. This spiritual apocalypse involves a breaking down of the illusions and false beliefs that bind individuals to the material realm, a revealing of deeper truths about the nature of reality and the self, and the purification of the soul from the influences of ignorance and deception. It is a transformative journey that requires us to confront our own shadows, to question the structures of society and belief systems that perpetuate suffering, and to seek the light of gnosis amidst the darkness of ignorance. They emerge from the darkness of ignorance into the light of gnosis, embodying a deeper understanding of their true nature and the interconnectedness of all existence. In this way, the apocalypse and Gnostic thought is not merely a cataclysmic event, but a necessary step on the path toward spiritual enlightenment and liberation. These interpretations suggest that the four horses of the apocalypse represent the four main aspects of the soul. The white horse stands for the physical body. The red horse denotes for emotions. The black horse represents intellect. And the pale horse is a symbol for spiritual essence. As such, this interpretation offers a powerful message about the interconnectedness between physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual aspects of our existence. The white horse, awakening to the spark of the divine, symbolizing the first phase of spiritual awakening. The white horse represents the recognition of the divine spark within each of us. It is at this stage that a person is able to recognize the sacred and transcendent aspects of themselves and realize there is something sacred and transcendent within themselves. The red horse, a confrontation with your lower self. An individual's inner battle with the lower self and their egoic tendencies is symbolized by the red horse. This represents the intense battle that occurs within our psyche. The fiery color of the horse represents the intensity of these inner conflicts, which often hinder spiritual progress. This stage involves an in-depth exploration of passions, desires, and attachments. To overcome these inner obstacles and transcend the limitations of the ego, the rider carries a sword. It symbolizes spiritual discipline and self-mastery. The black horse, achieving balance and detachment, symbolizing the process of seeking balance and detaching from the material world. The black horse represents the stage during which the seeker learns to navigate the illusions of wealth, power, and material attachments that often hinder our spiritual enlightenment. It is imperative to examine your relationship with material possessions, worldly desires, and societal expectations at this stage. A seeker seeking spiritual equilibrium should cultivate a sense of detachment and non-attachment by cultivating a sense of discernment and moderation. And the pale horse, the transmutation and liberation of consciousness. Death and decay are often associated with the pale horse, which symbolizes ego dissolution and liberation from the birth and death cycles. Gnostic spirituality is about the union between individual consciousness and the divine. Death as the rider of the soul is not a symbol of destruction, but rather an agent of transcendence. It guides the soul towards the divine and eternal realms. And upon dissolving the ego and transcending worldly attachments, the seeker achieves a profound liberation of consciousness, transcending the limitations of the material realm and achieving union with God. The seeker recognizes their inherent divinity and experiences a deep sense of connectedness and transcendence, a moment of awakening and liberation where we realize our true nature and embrace unity and oneness. As a result of the four horses, individuals are invited to embrace their spiritual spark within, confronting their lower selves, seeking balance and detachment, and ultimately union with God through transcending the limitations of our physical, material world. The book of Revelation resonates with a profound message of hope amidst cosmic upheaval. Through its vivid imagery and symbolic narratives, it heralds the triumph of good over evil and the sovereignty of God. It calls believers to stand firm in faith amidst trials, promising a new dawn of righteousness and redemption. In essence, Revelation proclaims God's enduring love, justice, and mercy, inviting humanity to join in the divine unfolding of a renewed creation. Humanfluence out.